If you're wondering if it's possible to spend less than $100 a day in Japan, yes, absolutely. You don't want to skip this video because I'm going to show you how to eat good and get the most out of Japan while still on a budget. How do I know? I've done it. I'm telling you, I'm bringing literal receipts with breaking down the cost of restaurants I've been to, transportation, hotel, activities like museums, feeding deers. Life is all about experience, but don't let finance hold you back because there are tons of free and cheap things to enjoy. One of the reasons why I love traveling to Japan is because it's super budget friendly and you get to squeeze in a lot without hurting your wallet. Let's break it down this way. If you're spending $100 or less per day, you're spending around $1,400 or less in 2 weeks, more or less. This is obviously not including flights and hotels. Before my trip, I had no idea where to start, what to budget for, since it would be my first international trip. I googled how much it would cost for 2 weeks and I would see answers between $5,000, $7,000. Listen, your girl is not made of money and that is a lot. When I do trips in the States, I like to vacation on budget, but also be comfortable. It doesn't mean I'll put myself through the worst motels and skip out on meals just to save a few bucks. I also want to treat myself and make sure I'm having a good time, but at a reasonable cost. After all, you're on vacation, right? You're here to enjoy yourself, not deprive yourself of experiences. I don't know about you, but my budget for the rest of the trip sort of depends on how much is left over after booking flights and accommodations. So let's get those out of the way first before I jump into the fun stuff. Cost of flights and accommodations will fluctuate depending on the time of year you're going and where you're flying out from. Because cherry blossom season is the most popular time to go to Japan, you can expect end of March and early April to be pretty expensive. Same with end of the year with all the holidays going on. If you're flexible with your schedule and you're aiming to travel around the cheapest time, January and February seems to be the cheapest, but keep in mind it'll be cold and possibly snowing in some areas. Because the cost of flight will depend on when and where you're flying out from, let's use LAX as a frame of reference. LAX to Haneda around February will be about this much. Once you arrive, you have to think about where you're headed and the mode of transportation you'll be taking to your hotel or Airbnb. Are you taking the train, limousine bus, taxi? If you choose the train, it is the cheaper option. It'll be around 500 yen or $3.41 for one direct line. But keep in mind, you and your group will be navigating through the busy subway station and packed trains with luggages, possibly little kids. Depending on where you're staying, you may have to transfer lines as well, then walk a few blocks to your destination. Because of how busy the trains get, there is a chance you won't get on the same train as your group, and if you have to wait for the next train to come, it'll cut some time into your trip. And you know what they say, time is money. Our next mode of transportation is the limousine bus. It's approximately $8 to $10 per person. Super convenient and great for groups with multiple luggages. The only downside is that there are limited stops. So, unlike a taxi that'll stop directly at your accommodation, the limousine bus only goes directly to certain major hotels and certain train stations. You'll have to look up the limousine bus route and find the closest stop to you and go from there. Still a lot more convenient than the train, I would say. I got lucky with the first hotel I stayed at because, coincidentally, the limousine bus was literally the next block over. Not only that, the hotel was pretty cheap and the subway was about 10 feet away. I have an entire video dedicated to that hotel and I'll link it in the description. The next mode of transportation is the taxi. While it may not be the most cost-friendly, it definitely saves you from headaches, hassles, and gets you directly to your location so you can get your trip started faster. If you're splitting the cost with another person, it does help. The cost of a local taxi from Haneda to Shibuya area will be around 7,900 yen or approximately $52 USD. Or if you already know the general area you're staying, let's break it down. Keep in mind, Different taxi companies have different prices set, but they're generally similar. So the first 2 kilometer is about 730 yen or $4.90. Price per additional kilometer is about 320 yen or $2.10. Okay, so we've taken care of the transportation from the airport to your accommodation. The next few days, you'll be exploring city to city. The best way to get around is hands down the train. Japan has one of the best railway system, and they're always on time. If you open up your Google map, type in your destination, and select the train option, depending on which line, it'll let you know the time that specific line will arrive at the destination. It'll break down how many minutes it takes to walk to the station, which line you might need to transfer, and how many more minutes you'll need to walk to reach your destination from the station. It also tells you the cost on Google Maps. If you were to take the Ginza line, noted here in orange, it'll cost 178 yen or $1.19 in USD. So you can estimate each time you get on the train to head someplace, it'll cost between $1 to $3, which is still very reasonable compared to taking a taxi everywhere you go. The last form of transportation we'll briefly cover is the JR Rail. Tokyo to Osaka takes about a 6-hour drive, but with the bullet train, it'll get there in about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Unfortunately, since October of 2023, the cost of the passes have risen by 70%. The original 7-day pass used to be 29,650 yen or $197. Now it's 50,000 yen or $333. Definitely not an attractive number. They also offer 14 days and 21 days. During both my trips, we utilized the 7-day one to get from Tokyo to Osaka and Kyoto back to Tokyo. You can purchase the voucher online through an agency, but be sure to redeem the voucher once you arrive to Japan so you can receive your ticket and reserve a seat. Don't wait last minute or you'll risk standing in a long line like we did and missing our train. Take this with a grain of salt, but I think there may have been a night bus that goes from Tokyo to Osaka for $30, but it takes about 8 hours. Again, time is money, and if you're in Osaka or Kyoto for just a few days, sacrificing 6 hours is a lot. But it definitely does save a lot of money. Now to accommodations. If you clicked on this video, you're here for tips on how to do things budget friendly. So we're not even going to look at those big chains hotel. Let's say on average, the nicer hotel runs about $250. In 2 weeks, that's going to cost you $3,500 just for accommodations. Look, I've done an entire 2 weeks for less than $600. Granted, that was back in 2019 and prices may have changed. I did a whole video on that and it's the same one I listed in the description. I broke down why that's probably one of the best options out here, but we're going to explore a couple of options so you know what you're going in for if you want something budget friendly but still nice. For me, it's not super important to stay in some place upscale if I'm going to spend 90% of my day out and about. I also want someplace that allows me to be comfortable and have luggage space. So as cheap as a capsule hotel would be, it's a bit too small for me. Capsule hotels or hostel dorm rooms seem to average about $20 a night if that's something you don't mind. I prefer hotels, so let's explore that instead. As of October 2023, Sotetsu Fresa in Toyocho, aka the budget-friendly hotel I made an entire video on, is $77 a night, which comes out to be $1,078 for 2 weeks. Man, they really need to sponsor me. If you're staying with 2 or 3 other people, that'll come out to $539 or $359 per person for 2 weeks. There are other pretty nice and decent hotels between $70, $90. It'll just depend on which area you would like to stay. Let's say the average non-fancy chain hotels are $80 a night. That's $560 for 1 week or $1,120 for 2 weeks. Again, if you're splitting the cost with a group, that will definitely help cut it down. Now let's look at Airbnbs. Just like hotels, the prices will depend on where you're staying. The more popular the area, the more likely it'll cost more than non-popular areas. It'll also depend on how many people are in your party. Some Airbnbs only host one guest, others might host a max of 2 or 3, and very few host up to 6 or 7. If we're looking around the Tokyo area, the Airbnbs might range between $50 to $100. However, the $50 ones are usually a smaller space that hosts just one guest. So let's go with an average size Airbnb that'll range around $75 a night. It'll run you the same amount as a hotel. Again, this is for those who want to travel on a budget yet sleep comfortably. There's definitely cheaper options like the capsule hotels, hostels, and very, very small studios, all for $15 to $20 a night, which is perfect for solo travelers who want to be super extra budget friendly. Okay, so I know up until now it sounded like a lot of mumbo jumbo and random numbers. Let's put together a hypothetical itinerary and then add on the fun stuff like restaurants, snacks, theme parks, museums, a lot of visits to 7-Eleven and Lawson's Family Mart. So for the first day, this is what it might look like if you choose to travel in February. A round-trip flight from LAX, it's going to be about $638. Airport limousine to Sotetsu Hotel, $10. Budget-friendly hotel for 2 weeks, $630. Train to Shibuya, $2. Restaurant to fuel up after flying, checking in, walking around, about $5 to $8. Walk around more and sightsee, free. The rest of the trip, spending will look similar day to day unless you're doing something big like theme parks. For the rest of the video, I won't go deep into details like I did the first few minutes with the transportations, hotels. Instead, I'll list the cost of attractions, food, theme parks, etc., and you can build a hypothetical itinerary based on how much you think you'll fit in a day.
Photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart. In my heart is where you are. I still think of you. I want you coming back. I remember when we were staring at a photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart. In my heart is where you are. I still think of you, I want you coming back. Call me when you want, baby, I can take it on my heart. Yeah, yeah, give me your love, yeah, yeah. Call me when you want, baby, I can take it on my heart. Yeah, yeah, give me your love, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember when we were staring at a photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart. In my heart is where you are. I still think of you. I want you coming back. I remember when we were staring at a photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart. My heart is where you are. I still think of you. I want you coming back. Call me when you want, baby, I can take it on my heart. Yeah, yeah, give me your love,
If you made it to the end of this video, first off, thank you so much. And second, I hope it gives you a little bit peace of mind having an idea of how much certain things cost. If there are certain costs of attractions or activities you're curious about, please leave it in the comments and I'll do my best to let you know. Maybe I've done it but haven't had the chance to take a video of it. What are some things you're looking forward to? Did any of the costs surprise you? Was this video somewhat helpful? Please let me know so I know what kind of videos to make in the future. Please leave a like, it'll help me out a lot. Thank you for watching and I hope you have a great time on your trip.
Call me when you want, baby, can take it on